We talked to Dane Brugler. There's a lot of stuff that could happen at the top of the draft.
Yes.
You're talking to people. How much could things move? Like, how much could opinion change? Because usually, like we kind of knew last year, at least 2 of those quarterbacks would be taken. Where are we at here?
So the question I know for people in the league is just how much are some of these quarterback needy teams going to fall in love with the quarterbacks? For instance, someone suggested to me, this is not somebody in the know.
Is it possible to fall in love with these quarterbacks in this draft, though?
Ask Sarge. I don't know. No,
I thought that's what you were doing for a second there.
Shush.
Is it possible for them to fall in love? No. But it is
yes.
No.
But it is possible for them to be in a spot that the Patriots were in 2021, for example, and say to themselves, well, we've got nothing until we've got a quarterback. And until we've got a quarterback, we've got to try like hell to get a quarterback. And so what do? And I look at a team like Fred Tutcher's Jets, and I say to myself, how are they not at least trying to do whatever they can if they think one of these guys can eventually play? Trying to do whatever they can to land one, because that's a roster where if you get a quarterback who can give you something representative at that position, they could be a good team right away. They've got talent all over the field.
Not so much with the rookie quarterback, though. That defense is losing a lot of pieces, and it wasn't very good last year. And you can't go by some of the defensive statistics. I don't think there's any way the Jets take a quarterback in the first round.
They have talent, though, is what I would say, Fred, in terms of you've got a guy that should be a franchise corner. I know he just had a bad year in Sauce Gardner. You still have Quinnen Williams. You still have Garrett Wilson on the offensive side. Like you have the pieces in place to. You're not going to be able to make a Jaden Daniels-esque run the way the Commanders did with a rookie quarterback. But if you can get something that is like a B to Jaden Daniels A, you could be sniffing the postseason, and that's worth pursuing, in my opinion, to move up from 7 to maybe all the way to 1 and get Cam Ward.
Yeah, but I don't think they can take that kind of swing right now, because I'll tell you why, and then I'll stop talking about the Jets. You brought them up. Is that you drafted Zach Wilson, and that was a failure, and then you brought Aaron Rodgers, and that was a failure. It's time to stop taking big swings. Because, there's an argument that you could trade for Matthew Stafford. There's rumblings that, the Rams are trying to redo things, and you can't do that either.
If there was an slam dunk quarterback prospect,
yes,
sure. But not Cam Ward is not a sure thing.
Not Cam Ward.
Shedeur Sanders sure as hell is not a sure thing.
If they took Shedeur Sanders, I mean, it would challenge my fandom as much as it's ever been challenged. And Shedeur Sanders might very well end up being a good quarterback. But if they sat at 6 with all the needs on this team and with all the turmoil and all the crap and then brought Shedeur Sanders into it, no.
Boy, that'd be fun to watch from afar, though.
Yes,
my God!
Oh, amen. It would.
And I think that Shedeur Sanders might actually be better equipped to play pro football than a lot of guys, just because of his. He's been around it. He's supposed to be a good kid, and all that. I just think physically, it's such a leap. If he's good, it's despite a lot of stuff, right? If he's good, it's despite his arm strength. It's despite his size. He's not super fast.
No, he's not a runner.
So he's not a runner. If he succeeds, it's all on guile and grit. And I'm not taking that. I'll take that in the 4th round. I'm not taking that in the top 10 of the draft. I wouldn't take him in the 1st round. Now, the reason Cam Ward's interesting is he's a physically extraordinarily talented, but he's a lot of people think he's a head case. You saw it with the bowl game. Apparently, his recruitment to Miami was this whole circus with his family. There's a lot of red flags with Cam Ward. So if I was a GM, I'd know a lot more than what I'm doing now. But if I was a GM, I'm interested I've heard a lot of stuff about Cam Ward that's not good. I'm interested, nothing criminal or terrible, but I'm interested in that in this draft. If we're sitting there at 10, the 10th pick comes off the board, and this isn't ideal for the Patriots because then at 4, no quarterbacks will have been taken, and a quarterback has not been taken. I think there's enough red flags with all these guys, and I'm wondering after the workouts if Jackson Dart, people are Jackson Dart could play in the NFL. I'm going to take him in the 2nd round. And that's what my plan's going to be in the draft.
More and more, you see these mock drafts with Dart sneaking into the back end of the first round.
It's the same like J.J. McCarthy.
The same way. Everyone all of a sudden, even though Jalen Milroe wasn't very good the second half of the season for Alabama, everyone's falling in love with the physical abilities. Oh, you know what? He might be good. Let's take him at the end of round 1.
I don't know this, but it's like it might be like J.J. McCarthy. Like I don't know anything about Jackson Dart, but everyone said wait till J.J. McCarthy works out. Like he's not a game manager. Wait until he works out. Wait until he works out. And who takes him? But Kevin O'Connell. I trust his opinion, right? Kevin O'Connell seems to know how to run an offense.
He's done pretty well.
Yeah, I just don't think anybody that we're talking about as maybe whether it's Dart or whether it's Tyler Shuck, who's a quarterback out of Louisville, who was maybe the best quarterback at the Senior Bowl apparently, and he might go in the second round. Maybe he even sneaks his way into the first. Like who knows? Just because these teams get quarterback desperate, and so that's what I'm wondering with the top 2 guys. I don't care about the others. That doesn't impact the Patriots in any way whatsoever. What I'm looking at is, okay,
well,
I think Cam Ward's probably going to I think there's a decent chance he goes off in the top 3. I think the physical skill set will attract people. Jaden Daniels had some issues in terms of when he transferred, and he had some stuff, he won the Heisman, that people were looking at too. He won the Heisman. He was a better player. But you're talking about off-field stuff that's maybe a concern, not really. I look at the Patriots at 4 and say, if Shedeur Sanders is there, is somebody going to get desperate? Are the Raiders going to get desperate? Brady's had a relationship with Shedeur since he was in high school, I think, and knows Deion Sanders, and I think they would like to have that kind of flash as part of their organization. So would they trade up? I actually have a mock draft coming out today.
Woo! Oh, hey,
you're welcome. You're welcome. We need more mock drafts in the world.
And honestly, there can't be enough mock drafts. I'm not being sarcastic. I love the draft so much.
And if you're a Patriots fan, whatever you
get
post
used to
is
it.
going to get read.
Hey, Patriots fans, your highlight of your season's in April from now on. So get used to it.
So you have.
I've been living this way my whole life.
And as somebody who loves the draft as well, Fred, it's a lot of fun for me to do. I had the Patriots trading from 4 to 6 because the Raiders wanted Shedeur Sanders in this scenario, and they ended up trading a guy that I know Dane Brugler loves, and I think you guys talked to him about this player for a minute or two. Is Jaylen Walker.
Yes.
He's an edge defender from Georgia.
Yes.
He's 20 years old. He's about to be 21. He's on the ball, off the ball. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but he has long arms. He's really explosive. He's thought to be a very high-end football character person. And so I just look at him and I say, versatility, big program, just won the Butkus Award as the best linebacker in college football. I'm looking at Mike Vrabel, character, culture. He seems like his kind of guy, especially in a draft like this one where you're not getting a blue chip talent in all likelihood. There's 2 blue chippers, I think, in this class. And then I think there are probably like 10 quote-unquote red chippers.
Brugler
it's like
has
a step back.
Brugler has him 3rd behind the top 2.
And I think he certainly has an argument to be the best guy in sort of that next tier. And if you're the Patriots and you can get that at 6 and you can use them all across your defense as Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams, like – that to me would have a lot of value. And you're adding maybe like a second-round pick on top of it because you traded back. That to me would make a lot of sense.
You think you get a second-rounder in return for trading up that many 2 slots? Who's
it
picking
depends
5th?
on what kind of bidding war you have going on.
Who's picking
Jacksonville?
5th? Okay, and they're not taking a quarterback.
They're not taking a quarterback either. But, if do the Saints call the Patriots and say, we'd like to trade up from 9, and the Raiders call and say, well, no, how much do you need? We need to get this guy
No,
from
it makes
6.
sense. The Saints the Saints need as many rookies as they can get. There's something like $25 million over the cap. The Saints are...
In some years, like if you look at the Darnold year, I mean, you might remember this trade off the top of your head. I think the Jets traded from 6 to 3, so not 6 to 4, but 6 to 3. I think they gave up 2 first-round picks to do that.
Or
maybe a first and 2 seconds.
I don't think. I don't think they gave up 2 first-round picks. They might have. Their own pick and then another first-round pick.
Yeah, sorry. So it's not. So they're trading up. They're giving away a future first, and I think a second in that year's draft at least.
Yeah, Darnold was considered though an elite talent, and
that's true. And it was a different sort of quarterback class.
Yeah. And Darnold. Everyone that was around Darnold, even when he was with the Jets, was like, this kid's good. He's just with a terrible, terrible, terrible organization. And they don't say that about many people, as you know, the football writers. They all big, strong, good arm, and they just ruined him. He would have been good if he got drafted anywhere else. The Jets could have ruined Tom Brady. The Jets could have ruined John Elway. The Jets could have ruined Dan Marino. They didn't take him. They took Kenny O'Brien. Came out better than the Patriots in that draft.
Far better.
Who took Tony Eason.
Yep.
who was way worse than Ken O'Brien. Ken O'Brien was a serviceable quarterback.
And the Patriots
Listen to the scarring, the scar tissue that you've built up over the years. That's why you don't want a quarterback. You would rather watch a full season of Tyrod Taylor play starting quarterback for the New York Jets
He's pretty good.
than have the Jets actually invest in a young quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor starts every game. They win 8 games. That's how bad Aaron Rodgers was last year. He was atrocious. He was worse than Zach Wilson in some ways. Now, there were games he played well, but there were 3, maybe. Awful.
Future Pittsburgh Steeler Aaron Rodgers.
That's too good an organization.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.